Welcome to the Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my 3 daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others. Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna Love. I am your host, Anna Love. Today we are going to talk about the human heart and how we crave connection. Now, if you're born as a human, you need just a couple of things from your providers. And if you don't receive these very essential things, you will die, you will perish. One is food. Pretty obvious. One is shelter, and another is connection. I've met quite a few people in my lifetime who have been provided for by families who have given them the food and the shelter. Because as parents, they thought that's what I'm supposed to do. But what they neglected to give them, for no fault of their own, is that connection and that love. And many, many, many times it's due to generational trauma. And we just don't know what we don't know. And we either have babies because it just happened upon us one day, we had a baby. Or we planned to have a baby and we said to ourselves, I'm going to do it better than my parents did it for me. However, there's one key component missing from that equation. You don't know what you don't know. And if you were not connected with as a baby, the chances of you not being able to connect with your baby if you haven't resolved that attachment issue with your parents is that you are going to do the same. And even though you may have a full heart of love, if you are not able to tap in or plug into yourself and those around you, it's nearly impossible for you to consciously connect with your offspring. So it's uber important that when you start to become aware that you are having some issues in your relationship, whether it be when you're a teenager or when in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whenever it is that you arrive at that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm looking at the patterns in my life and in my relationships, and I'm starting to notice there's something similar. There's a common denominator here. And the common denominator is this pattern of a lack of connection or a lack of love. And I know that I have love inside of me. I just may not be able to access it. And I may not be able to connect with another. I may not be able to identify someone loving me. What does it feel like to receive that love? And it's something that I used to struggle with. It was real for me. Now I could feel love with certain members of my family, but I noticed with other members of my family, there was a block there. And I didn't know how the block got there. And I didn't even know how to describe what the block was. It was just something that was there between myself and another person. And it's almost like the pink elephant that's in the room. And you can't figure out why it's there or how it got there or how to remove it. I'd love to know if you as a listener have related to this, can feel what I'm talking about, that unexplainable block between you and another human being. And I've done some inner work around this. And one of the most impactful things that I've done, a tool, is to do mirror work. And I went to my mirror, and the very first time I went to do this, I said, I'm going to go do some mirror work. I was reading a book, I think by Louise Hay.
And her suggestion was to do this mirror work. Just gaze into your own eyes. And I remember that when I did this, I had to look away. Like I immediately started crying. I was unable to connect with myself, looking directly in my own eyes for more than a second. I had to look away. And it was almost as if I was looking at a person that I absolutely despised. There wasn't that like love for this person looking in the mirror back at me. And that was the very, very, very first time that I started to awaken to the fact that my love for myself was very, very low, if at all. Because before that, I had thought that I had self-love for myself. And the reason why I had thought this is because I didn't go around saying to myself, I hate you or anything like that. So I thought that because I was not hating on myself, that I was in fact loving myself. However, when I went to do the mirror work, I started to awaken and realize, oh my gosh, this is what self-love is. And I don't have it. I am unable to connect with myself right now. So what did I do? My favorite thing is I said, okay, we're going to do this on repeat until you start to connect. And I had already learned that in order to do these difficult things, you need to just keep practicing. You need to bring yourself back and stay in it until you start to get it. And it took me several days. It wasn't that I took a block of time that day and just, hunkered down and stared at myself in the mirror for 3 hours. I said, okay, I'm going to take a break and I'll come back to this. I'll revisit it. And I was very, very happy to receive myself when I finally started to make that connection and that beautiful connection with myself. And it was very powerful and it was very moving. And once I made this connection with myself, I started to be able to build myself up differently, to support myself differently, because just because we did not receive connection from a parent doesn't mean we're not capable. It just means that we need to go inside and search inside for us. And then we are able to start giving that younger version of us the very things that we did not receive. And again, it's no one's fault. It's generational, passing the baton over. And if our parents were parented by people who were parented by people who were parented by people who didn't have the skill set, or it just wasn't important at the time. Maybe they were in a survival mode. Maybe they were not thriving, and connecting with themselves and connecting with those around them wasn't available. Maybe they were doing all they could to put food on the table for their offspring, and love was an afterthought. So it's okay. And we're not here to blame or point fingers. We are simply here to notice and become aware and start to awaken. And this is when we start to have the freedom, because we are no longer dependent on another person to give us that love that we've been craving and we've been looking for and we've been searching for. We start to realize we have it. We have everything that we need right here inside of us. We can love ourselves. And when we start to make that connection with ourselves, we then are able to connect with other people. And this is where the connections with another starts to, we get to create relationships. We get to create romances that have a solid foundation. And we may look back and say, okay, well, I've just had this marriage that dissolved and I've had these friendships that have dissolved, or maybe I have relationship with my children and it wasn't great. And we get to say, okay, let's start now at doing it differently, right? What am I noticing now that I can start to do differently? And that's the power. That's the freedom right there. And when we start to connect with another, then we start to, honestly, we live differently. We see the world different. We start to want to connect with strangers and just smile for no reason. We start to be able to go out into the world, and we function differently in the world, where we're not constantly seeking external approval through the way that we interact with people. Because sometimes we do that when we are not connected and plugged into ourselves. We will go out in the world and we will form relationships that, it gives us the bare minimum. We at least get to say, look, I've got friends. I'm social. I'm out there in the world connecting. But if it's based on, a relationship where we're not connecting with ourselves, how can we give or have that with another person? We can't give our connection with another person if we aren't giving it to ourselves. So whenever we are providing us with that which we are seeking, that self-love, that love for us then gets to be expanded out to another person effortlessly and easily. And it's solid footing. It's not bullshit communication. It's not surface level talk. Then the communications start to ease, just comes from us with ease. It comes from a place of authenticity where we have deeper communication and people start to receive us and we are able to receive them. And I feel that that's just not available. It's not possible unless we start with coming back to ourselves and having that internal relationship with ourselves. Then we are giving all that we need. We're giving to ourselves and then we can give to another. And I use the saucer metaphor often, where if we're holding a cup and it's empty and we look outside of us and we say, well, who's going to fill this up? And then we actually get people to fill it up. It's not long lasting and it's not really, fulfilling. It's not nourishing enough. It's not as nourishing and fulfilling as if we start to pour our own love into this cup. And then when it spills over, then we can give it to another person. We can say, I've got enough for me. What can I give to you? And then that person, if they've got a cup that they're filling up internally, and then they've got some extra flow, then they can give it to us. And it's this transaction that's on a deeper level. And we can make more impact in the world that way. We can, like I said, have more authentic relationships. And you're going to find yourself being able to go deeper with people and have longer relationships with people. And yeah, we're just not going to be looking outside of us for someone else to fill us up because we are giving ourselves exactly what we need. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And I really wanted to drive home that it is a basic need for love, for food, for shelter. And if you did not receive that from your parents or your caregivers, you can get it from yourself. You just need to know the right tools. You need to know how to access that part of you. And it starts with, I gave you one technique, doing some eye gazing in the mirror. Just starting with that. It's simple. As long as you have a mirror, you can do this. So I want you to go, if this feels right for you, give it a try. Even if you're saying right now, I hear what you're saying and I feel very fulfilled and I have self-love, go give it a try anyway and see what happens. See if you're able to stare at yourself and connect and just feel like you're connected, like you're absolutely receiving what that person in the mirror is giving to you. And if you can give it back. And it's this give and take, this inward and outward, this love connection with yourself. So go ahead and try it. Let me know how you feel about it. And I will talk to you later. Love you.
Ready to take the next step in designing a life you love? The Life Design Blueprint membership is your all access pass to exclusive tools, live guidance, and transformational support to help you move from self doubt to self worth. Building on the principles from the Design a Life That Lights You Up ebook, this membership is a deeper dive into creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. You will go beyond surface level self help with hypnotic techniques and live discussions that create real lasting change in your mindset and life. You will receive ongoing support from me and connect with a community of like minded women on a similar journey. Each week, I deliver an empowering hypnosis, which offers a unique way of working with your subconscious to reframe limiting beliefs, elevate self worth, and reinforce positive habits. All of our sessions will be recorded and added to our on demand library for easy access to members. Join me by clicking the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. If today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to take your leadership to the next level, I'd love to invite you to join my free private Facebook group, Life Design Blueprint. It's a sacred space where I invite and empower women leaders like you to lead with purpose, love, and authenticity. Inside, you'll find tools, insights, and a supportive community to help you clear your shadows, step into your power, and create the life and leadership you're meant for. Head over to Facebook and search for Life Design Blueprint to join us, or check out the link in the show notes to get started. Remember, you're not just a leader, you're a woman with a purpose, and the world needs your authentic light. Until next time, lead with love and live with intention. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.